Today is Thursday, October the 16th. It's crazy that we are halfway through the month of October already. And that this weekend we're in week 3 of our From Now to Next, just talking about the life of Nehemiah, but also how it kind of mirrors what's going on in our church right now, what God is doing. I hope you've been wrestling through stuff. This last weekend, you told us that it was time for next steps, right? You told us that because the week before we talked about knees first and then steps next. Well, you revealed some steps this last week. Do you want to remind us what those steps were?
Yeah, I talked about taking steps of starting in the vision and sharing it and showing it, right? And by starting it, I just said every empty chair has a story to tell, and we want to help those stories be told so people can sit in a space where they can come to Jesus, hear of Jesus, and then begin to thrive in the families around them in that space where they are. And then ask people to share it with others, to tell people, like, hey, invite people, share, I'm all in. Are you in with me? I'm in as well. And then to show it, because actions do really speak louder than words. So show you're in. Make space at your dinner table, in your gathering, your schedule, that you can actually show that you are actively trying to fill every empty chair with somebody who needs to know Jesus.
Yeah, because that is our goal. I mean, that's literally the one thing that God asked us to do. Jesus, before he went up to heaven, said, go make disciples.
Yeah.
Our goal is to bring people to Jesus, to bring people to Jesus. That's it. We let him do the correcting, we let him do the changing, we let him do all that, but we create spaces for people to meet Jesus, and we're going to do everything we can to continue to help that happen.
Exactly.
So you said it already, I'm just going to repeat it, but you said the phrase, every empty chair is waiting for someone's generosity. What does that mean to you?
Yeah. So the phrase was, every chair has a story to tell, and it's waiting for your generosity to help be there. So that's the whole phrase right there. And what it means to me is that we have, well, actually, here, let me see. We have little chairs, like these, with the little blue Bibles right there. Little chairs. I'll put it right there between us. When we talk about empty chairs having stories to tell, it is because in that seat, before someone sits there, there is unfulfilled potential waiting to be activated, to be lived into, right? And we're waiting for somebody to sit in that chair, not so the chair can do something special, but so that in that spot, the Holy Spirit can begin to work on their heart through the reading of the Word and the fellowship of the people, and then they can submit their life to Jesus, and the story of transformation and restoration begins to be told. It's waiting for generosity, though. Your generosity, mine, yours, because of multiple things. Number one, someone has to buy the chair. We need to buy the chair, right? The money is part of the generosity. Number two, someone has to pray that somebody will fill that spot, right? It's a generosity of our heart and of our prayers. Then we have to invite somebody to join in that space. That's a generosity of invitation and speaking. And then when they sit there, we have to sit next to them, put an arm around them maybe, and just say, hey, we're walking this together. It's a generosity of relationship. It's waiting for generosity to happen so that that chair can tell the story that it was intended to tell.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because there is nothing powerful about the chair.
None.
There's nothing powerful about the chair. But the chair is a reminder of the person, the soul, who God created to sit in it and have an encounter with their King.
Yeah.
Right. And that's, we've all, like, I get to sit in these chairs, not these, but the ones that they represent. I could not fit in that.
It might break.
But the chairs we sit in, I get to sit in because of the generosity. Our church has been here for 140 years. And I think about the generosity of people who went before us, even before I was born. Like, I had an uncle who was a youth minister here at one point in its history. I had before that, my grandparents went to church here when they moved to Carl Junction for the first time. And before that, you just go back over the course of the history, people who sacrificed, people who gave. And at the time, it was in a different building even, right? It wasn't the chair at the time, but they believed in the soul of the person to meet the King. And our church has been about that for 140 years. And I love those stories. I love what God is doing. But since, I'm gonna be honest with you, I've had more of realization and more of a burden for these empty chairs since we've relaunched our North Heights campus. Because I am in the weeds of people's lives a lot more than I was here. And what I mean by that is I was in people's lives here who grew up in church for the most part. People who had what you would say had their lives together. We're reaching people over there who are so new to Jesus, like they're the first generation in their families to come to Jesus. And those chairs are also being filled. And they're excited. They've been praying over how they can bring more of their friends to experience God in that place as well. Our church family is doing some really cool things, not because we are awesome, Not because we are having it all together, but we are learning to posture ourselves at the feet of Jesus, saying, what do you want us to do, King Jesus? And so every empty chair for me, the potential is my literal neighbors, my family members. And for me as a dad, the potential is my children. Like, I follow Jesus. My wife follows Jesus. I'm training my kids to follow Jesus, but someday it's going to be their choice to sit in these chairs.
Yeah.
Not my forcing, but them choosing. And I want to create a space for them. I want to create a space for my grandkids someday to come to the Lord as well. But I got to lead the way in generosity. It's my time now to step up to the plate and do that.
I mean, that's the story of my life, really. Here at Connect Christian Church, my family started coming here in 1980, and I was 1 year old. And as they grew, my family grew here, I grew here as well. From nursery to kids ministry spaces to eventually pews at the time and chairs in this building. And I am a preacher of the gospel. I am who I am today because somebody bought chairs and put me in them here in this church. My son was born in Northeast Indiana. He grew up about 10 years old. We moved back from Ohio back to my hometown here. And from 10 years on, he sat here in our empty chairs. He sat here and he grew. He had opportunities to be known and to know others and to serve and to lead. And just 3-4 weeks ago, he began a job as a youth minister at a church. Right. This is the story of my family, and it's all because the generosity of others going before us with the chairs. You're saying it is our chance now to write the story of the next generation of preachers, youth ministers, of moms and of dads and brothers and sisters and Sunday school leaders, whatever it is. We get to write the stories.
Yeah, what I love about this though too, and just encourage you that it's just dawning on me, okay, is that this is not something new in the history of our church. These things have happened before. It's just new to us. It's new to this generation, asking us for us to step up, for us to do it at this time. But people before us had to give. People before us had to be generous for the building even we're in, because we were in a different building in the 70s before moving to this building. And so every point in the history of this church family, some generation had to give for the next one, and it's our time to give.
Yeah. And you found some pictures in the building here of our previous building back in the 1900s and 20s, and back in then they did the same thing when they built a building and bought pews probably, and we want to continue on the legacy that has made us who we are.
Yeah. The last thing I want to kind of wrap up our time with is this question that you wrote in the app for us to wrestle through, and it's this: what passion or burden has God placed on your heart that you've mostly kept private?
Up until about 3 weeks ago, it was the From Now to Next project. That was mostly private, or at least only with our leaders, our elders here until that point. Other passions and burdens on my heart. There are individuals and people around town that I have a passion for and places for. I have a passion for the next generation of people, college students, and I don't talk about that a lot. I just find they hang at my house, but that's an intentional time for me. So some of those things are just kind of private ones I carry on my own right now at the moment, but many of them are becoming more public as we go along.
Yeah, I think for me, I've had some private ones, not because I don't want to share them, but as much as I don't know the answer to them, and I don't want to get someone running off on something that won't even work out, and think about. But like some of those things I've been thinking about, we've had some families coming to our church more and more, and some other individuals with special needs. I have a really big heart for that. My family has a really big heart for that. But how do we take care of them? How do we use the space to take care of them? I really don't know. I don't know all the answers right now, but I know we want to be a church who does, and we want to be a church who leads the way. But it's kind of been a private thing in my family. We've been talking about, what does that look like?
Yeah.
I have neighbors who speak different languages. Like I have neighbors in my neighborhood who speak different African dialects. I have some neighbors who speak languages from Micronesia. I have some Spanish-speaking neighbors, and I don't speak any of those languages.
Yeah.
So what does it look like to reach them with the gospel? What does it look like to find people who know how to speak those languages and partner with them so they might know Jesus? Again, private things only because I just don't know the answers to them.
And it can feel scary to take a private thing and make it public, that's a scary move.
Mhm.
When we started talking about this from now to next project, it was scary to take it public even with our leaders. I mean,
Yep.
you and I prayed this for a long time, then to our leaders, and then to the whole church, and that's a scary move to
Yeah.
make, right? To reveal those things because you're being vulnerable in that moment and sharing some things. And there's other private passions in me probably that I haven't shared a lot. Because I don't know the answers either, right?
Yeah.
Some writing I'd like to do, teaching I'd like to do, some things I like to do that are a little more private because I don't really know the answers to them yet, and I'm trying to figure them out too.
Yeah. So I would be interested. What are some things that God's put on your heart? Again, we may not have answers for them, but
Yeah.
I know God is stirring in our people, and God is doing great and awesome things. Maybe you're like me, and maybe you're like Adam. Like, they're cool things. I just don't know how to share them right now.
Mhm.
Not because they're bad things, but because I just don't know the answers to them. And we can pray for those things together. But you're right. The biggest thing that's been private for a long time, especially for me and you, has been this Now the Next campaign, because God has been bringing people faithfully to our church, and we want to be great shepherds, and following after the greatest shepherd, Jesus. And as he leads people into his pasture, as he leads people into his flock, and he is saving people, we want to make sure there's room for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Church, until we see each other again, you are sent. Have a great day.